Everybody good? Can you hear me okay? Everybody good? All right. Well, we're on Facebook, we're live, we're going there good now. So everything's good. Welcome. Welcome day 18. How about that? Day 18. Got two more great ones coming up. So we're going to get right into it. Thank y'all for jumping on here on Facebook. Or if you're watching from another day, happy Monday. It's a great day. So we'll get started. Let's have some fun this morning.
He says, let's have fun, ladies. We're going to talk about forgiveness. So I don't know how fun that is. Um, but I think ours is very challenging today. And I don't think that forgiveness is an easy thing. I know Pastor Jeannie and I have had to work on forgiveness in our lives of different things we've talked about over the years. But I think all of us have had to work on forgiveness. So I have a story this morning. I'm not going to use really the book at all. But one of my favorite people in history is Corrie ten Boom. And I loved her book, The Hiding Place, and the movie that she created and all that type of stuff. But anyways, in 1947, after Corrie had gotten out of the concentration camp, she was at a church speaking. And as she looked out into the crowd, she saw a man there that she recognized as being one of the guards from the concentration camp. At that moment, I might would have wanted to have just left. I'm a speaker, and there are times when I've been speaking and I've seen somebody in a crowd that had done something to me, and they hadn't asked for forgiveness yet. And I think about how hard that would be. But with Corrie, like there's no comparison because she had been in a concentration camp, her and her sister Betsy, and Betsy actually passed away in the concentration camp. So as she's speaking, guess what she's speaking about? Forgiveness of all things. I mean, isn't God good like that? He kind of like puts stuff in front of us that we have to just really deal with immediately. So after she's done speaking, the man comes up to her and says, I know that God forgives me, and you spoke about the camp, but do you forgive me? And he held out his hand. Now, at that moment, I would have wanted to have run, maybe to have hit his hand away, but she had to think, what am I going to do? And she said at that moment, as his hand is sticking out, that she starts thinking of these overwhelming memories that are coming to her about all the shoes and the socks in the middle of that barren room, the place where they had made them strip of all their clothing and walk in front of the guards. They not only lost all of their clothing, but they lost their dignity. And so she said the memories just came flooding in, and she remembered Betsy just kind of going down to nothing and dying. And she said, if I forgive him, does that erase Betsy's death? Does that erase her life? Is that what I'm actually going to do? She says that she stood there with the guy holding his hand out, and that she put her hand close, but she said, my heart was cold. And I recognize that, how many times our heart can be cold. And she said, I just couldn't seem to bring myself to touch his hand and to say, yes, I forgive you. So she started doing what any of us would do, like praying inside, like, God, you got to help me here. You got to get me out of this thing. And she said, God, if you will give me the feeling, I will give him my hand and I will forgive him. So God met her where she was, and she said that she mechanically took her hand and put it in his. And she said at that moment, when she made that mechanical movement, that there's something that happened. She said all of a sudden, this warmth just flooded her whole body. It started up in her neck somewhere and went down into her shoulders. And she said it just took over. And she said it was like an electrifying kind of like an electricity jolt. And they both felt it. And she looked at him honestly and said, I forgive you with all of my heart. The other thing that Corrie said was that forgiveness is an act of the will. And it is like we can decide if we forgive or not. And, our heart, it doesn't matter if our heart is hot or cold, we still operate within our own self will. And that's what Corrie was saying. And she said immediately when all of that happened, that her heart turned so incredibly warm where it had been cold. And she said that she honestly forgave the man. When I think about that, I don't think there is any way that I could not forgive someone else. I'm thinking I've never had to deal with somebody being responsible for a family member death. And I think if Corey can do it, I know she was a very strong woman, then I know that we can do it. So I think that's all the encouragement we need today and all the challenge that we really need of why we need to forgive. We know what the Bible says that we're forgiven, but if we don't forgive, we're not going to be forgiven. And I think that Corey, it had been like 3 years since she had been out of there. And it really made her realize, like we hold people in prisons when we don't forgive them, but we also hold ourselves in a prison. So, ladies, today it's very simple. We just got to forgive. Like any time that somebody might have done something to us mentally, emotionally, physically, or to a family member, we just need to simply hold out our hand. And if we're having a tough time, just ask God, give me the feeling, I'll give you my hand. Mechanically give it to Him, and He'll take care of the rest. So, here's the one decree that I wanted to read today. It says, I decree that I release forgiveness to those who have wronged me and fully experience my Father's forgiveness of my own sins. And so, of course, you know what the activation is. It's like, yeah, go work on that thing, right? Anybody that we haven't forgiven. So that's what we got to do today, ladies. I think that the guys got a good day. They got courage. We get forgiveness. So, ladies, you got anything you want to add? No, everybody's good. All right, let me look over here on, let me just see if anybody's commented on Facebook. Oh, let's see here what we got. We got a bunch of people. Chris, it's good to see you, Chris. Amanda Gray, good morning. I bet she's working. No, she might be off today. Good morning, Skip. Good to see you. And Dolores is back. Good morning, Trudy. Let's see, Larry. Good morning, Larry. I'm sure he's glad Christmas is over at the post office. Tina Monroe. I think Tina, yep, she's from Canada. Welcome, Tina. We're glad you're back. You've been here quite a bit. Ashley Smith is here again. Good morning, Ron. Oh, and there's Bob. He said good snowy morning. So he's got some snow over there on the mountain. Let's see. He's going to watch again later with Connie. He's off today. Let's see here. And Sandra. So good morning to everybody. Nobody commented on forgiveness. I'm not surprised. So ladies, I forgive you for not commenting on, I'm just kidding. But and then there's Deborah Smith and she's praying. And yes, Trudy, we know Tina's a friend of yours. Good job for telling her about this. So ladies, let's remember to forgive today. We're going to let the guys step in and do the easy one of courage, right?
Hey, all right. Yeah, I don't know about courage and always easy, right, guys? God can appreciate that. But yeah, blessed with courage, blessed with courage. But yeah, forgiveness is a tough one. It is. It's always tough, especially if you ever had a time where you don't really want to. For God said, no, you need to, but I don't want to. But we're supposed to, but that's always kind of difficult. All right, guys, blessed with courage. When I seen what today was on, I thought it was fitting and pretty cool that it happened to be today. Now, this book wasn't made for specific days. I mean, it's got, day 1, 2, 3, all through 31, but those days end up on different days of the month each year. So, but I thought it was interesting and pretty cool that as we're celebrating Martin Luther King Day, celebrating his life, that we're talking about courage. Wow. I mean, there's a big example of courage, of what he fought for, what he went through. I mean, it even cost him his life. But I mean, to stand up, like he had to stand up. He didn't have to. He chose to, for racial equality, civil rights. He was right there at the forefront and the leader and stood up and just kept fighting against everybody. So that took a lot of courage. When I was thinking about it, I said, man, that had to be courageous, courage, full of it. But he knew God was with him. So, it was just amazing. So we got him to thank for that. But So on courage, excuse me, we how many times or have you ever, which I say you have, God has asked you to do something or move you to a place, or I want you to do this, or you need to tell somebody this. I got something I want you to do. And you're like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Really? I can't do that. Who am I? I'm a peon here. Who am I to do that? I can't do it. I mean, you can look throughout the Bible, the ones who kind of buck that and say the same thing. I'm not worthy to do it. Who, pick somebody else, somebody over here, they're much better at than I am. But fact is, if he calls us to do it, he's going to give us what's needed to do it. But sometimes in our eyes, at least in mine, it's hard. It's been hard to see that. It's been hard to understand that. It's been hard to get it. And then we have to just take that step. And that's what he's wanting us to take a step out in faith and to trust him. Say, dude, if I've called you to do this, I've got you covered. I've got your back. I will give you what you need. It can still be scary. It can still be frightening. I don't know if any of y'all out there, men or women, have found yourself like that before, but it's kind of, it can be very daunting, especially the task that it is. And I guess that's the key thing. Says, I can't do this. And I'm sure he's thinking like, you're exactly right. That's why I'm with you, because you can't do it by yourself, nor would I want to do it by myself. But anyway, so with that, the whole thing is, the key part is, if we do it, if we just take that step, he's going to give us what we need. He's going to put inside, well, it's already inside of us what we need to do it, or he never would have asked us to do it to begin with. So, but he has things for us to do, and they can be scary. They can be downright frightful. You can have things come against you, especially if you tell somebody and they're not on the same page with you, and not everybody will see that. And that's okay. If they don't understand, you can't see what the Lord's calling you to do, that's fine. That's okay. All right. So one of my favorite books is Joshua, and that's what he's talking about here. So let's look at Joshua for a minute. And I know he's got Joshua 1:9, but I'm going to go a little bit further than that, a little bit more than that. So actually, if you look in Joshua 1, all right, it's interesting. Well, it's talking about Moses' servant's dead, tag, you're it. You're going to do this now. But when you look at verse 6, he says, be strong and courageous. All right. Then you read on down, verse 7, be strong and very courageous. I'm thinking, okay, that's twice God's told me that, so something's coming. I mean, he went from be courageous, strong, courageous, now strong and very courageous. And so what happens in verse 9? NLT version says, this is my command. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you everywhere you go. That's comforting. Everywhere I go. But when you look at that, that was the third time he said that, and it kind of stepped up each time. Well, I don't know if you've read it or not, but in Hebrew, that the word command is translated to mean to appoint or to send with. So as you're reading that, intertwine or put those two things in the place of command. That changes things a little bit. To appoint or to send with. All right. So if he's appointing you to do something, he's sending us forth. Have the courage to do it. He will give us the courage because we're blessed with courage. And it's actually go forth with you. He'll go ahead of you. I'll show you. All right. So let's go on down. When you go on down through Joshua, go through chapter 2 and go to chapter 3. All right. And he's told him what to do. He's already, he's told Joshua and said, you go out, leave the camp, go out to the edge of the Jordan and wait for 3 days. All right. So he tells them, in fact, I'm just going to read some of this instead of just try to paraphrase it for you. 3 days later, the Israelite officers went through the camp, giving these instructions to the people. When you see the Levitical priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant, which is the presence of God, that was housed the presence of God. All right. So Ark of the Covenant, the Lord your God, move out from your positions, move, and follow them. Since I'm going to pull out a couple points here. Since you have never traveled this way before, a lot of times God sends us somewhere and he tells us, and you know it, and hey, you've never gone this way before. But let's look at his instructions. You've never gone this way before. They will guide you. All right. The priests are carrying the Ark of the Covenant, God's presence. God's presence will guide you. Stay about a half a mile back behind them, keeping a clear distance between you and the Ark, and make sure you don't come any closer. To me, that's saying, okay, God gives us something to do, tells us to be courageous, right? Commands, I'm going with you. I'm going ahead of you. All right. He leads the way. And we stay back, because how easy God tells you something to do, and we just want to jump at our own and take off. And you can, quote, run past God. If that makes sense. We can get ahead of God. I know I can. I can get ahead of God because I want to do something right now. He said, no, that's not the time. But right now is a good time. Don't you see that? That's a good time. I can do this now. No. Stay back. You've never gone this way before. I'm trying to help you out here, dude. You've never gone this way. So follow me. I got it covered. And what he had actually told them, their instructions were what God said, when the priests get to the water, stand, and it's going to stop. Let's go back up. All right. So when you look on, let's say that was up at you done verse 11. Look to the Ark of the Covenant, which belongs to the Lord of the whole earth, will lead you across the Jordan. All right, he's already telling them you're going across. And that's at flood stage, remember. That's at flood time. And 13, it says, the priest will carry the ark of the Lord of all the earth. As soon as their feet touch the water, the flow of water will be cut off upstream, and the river will stand up like a wall. He's telling them. He's telling them what's getting ready to happen. So if we got enough trust and he tells us what's getting ready to happen, we need to have enough faith and trust to believe him. And so it goes on, and that's what they did. They got up that morning, they got ready. And when the priests with the Ark of the Covenant got to the water's edge, and they put the water at the edge, they didn't have to wait till they got in the middle. Soon as their feet touched the water way upstream, and this was, I don't know if we've noticed this before, and it poses a question for me. When they touched the water upstream, way upstream, it says a great distance in a town called Adam, that's where it stopped. It doesn't say it stopped right there and they stepped in and went whoop, kind of like a Red Sea. Whoop, nope. It stopped way upstream. So I'm thinking, wow, you told me this. I stepped my feet in, God, you told me it was going to part. Where's the parting part? It was doing it. They just couldn't see it yet, but it was already happening. It was there. And they had, and I'm thinking, okay, I don't know how long that took, but they had to stand there, because up before, if you look in the other verses, it says they stand and wait. Well, they had to step in, water had started stopping, and by the time, I don't know how long it took to get there, but I'm thinking everybody there was waiting for that to happen, had to say, wow, okay, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? But it happened. That's the point. It happened. We just have to wait. Everything's in God's timing, correct? So anyway, I thought that was really cool. A few things just to bring out. And then when they got there, they crossed over on dry land. All right. So I said a minute ago, when God appoints us to do something, he appointed them. He's going to go with us. He's going to go before us. He's going to give us the courage to do it. What's our job? Take that step. Have faith and trust. They took the step. We have to take the step. Have faith and trust, and it will work out, and we'll be used and do what he wants us to do. He'll always be there with us. So, guys, let's look at the decrees. There's a lot of good decrees. I think I want to point one of them out, but let me let's just read them real quick. The Lord is with me; He will not fail me. He gives me all I need for every situation I face. I will not be afraid. I will not feel discouraged. My confidence is in the Lord. He gives me courage. I will stand firm in the Lord. I will let nothing move me from his plans and purposes. I give myself fully to all he has called me to do. I give no place to fear. This is very important. I give no place to fear. The Lord is leading me. He is with me. I will not be put to shame. That's interesting that that's in there. That to me almost speaks that, okay, somebody could shame you. Don't be put to shame. Say, you're crazy. What are you doing? I don't know if you've ever had that happen before. I've had people question me sometimes, besides my wife. Let's see. She's over laughing. And I give her good reason to question me. My heart is not troubled. I am not afraid. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I put my trust in the Lord. I trust his word. I trust his truth. I trust that he is with me and that he is making me brave. I am on guard against fear and doubt because that will stop us. That will stop us in our tracks. I have not received a spirit of fear, but one of love, power, and self-control. I cast down all intimidation. And actually, I didn't finish on number 7, but I give no place to them. I am courageous. Talk about fear and doubt. Number 10, I will keep moving forward. I will keep learning. I will keep growing. I will keep saying yes to all God has for me because the Lord has blessed me with courage. And that right there stood out. And I marked that one because if we keep moving forward and keep learning, we're not going to be able to keep learning if we don't move forward. I will keep growing. Look at them in order. If I move forward, I'm going to learn. If I'm going to learn, I'm going to grow in the things that God has for me to do. All right. And there's several scriptures down there you guys can look at. The activation. Where do you need courage right now? Bring that situation before the Lord and thank him for giving you all the courage you need to step out and see it through. Take some time to bind fear and cast down intimidation. Even more, by faith, receive the courage with which the Lord is blessing you, strengthening you, and sending you forth. You're moving out, dude. Sending you forth. I'm sending you forth. So anybody got any comments or questions? Look over here, see anybody's got any Facebook questions? Stand firm in his plans and purposes. Yep. Stand firm.
Willie said the couch is looking more comfortable.
Oh, Willie says the couch is looking more comfortable. Sometimes that can. Wait a minute. She's got something to say.
Well, I love what Chris put in there. She said it takes a lot of courage to forgive. I love how you put that together today, Chris.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Anybody that's on Zoom got anything to say? I think it's very good for all of us, and y'all watching later. You can put comments in there later when you come back and watch it. So I had a good group on here this morning. Yeah, really good group. Hope you enjoy the rest of your holiday if you're off from work. If not, enjoy your work. That's good. You got a job. Enjoy your work. Okay. And tomorrow we're going to do another lunch break at 12 o'clock. Tomorrow, the 31 decrees will be 31 degree challenge lunch break at noon. All right. That seemed to work pretty good. A lot of people liked that last week. And we've got 2 special guests going to join us on Wednesday. We will let you know the time. We're trying to confirm their time. They're in a different time zone than we are. So it's got to get all that worked out with them. So it's going to be fun.
I have to tell them who it is. It's Pastor Eddie and Joyce.
Look, give them a surprise.
I know, but y'all got to be on there
Yeah.
because like that man and that woman, they've been speaking the word of God forever.
Yep. So make sure all y'all watching now or later, and we'll let you know the time. As soon as we
Yes.
get it from them, we will get that out. We're working on some other guests also to join us on another day. So it's be really cool. Got some really cool ones set out. We just got to get confirmation from them.
So Pastor Eddie and Joyce will join us from Alabama. We have another couple. We're not going to tell you who it is yet. They're going to join us from North Carolina.
And we still may get another couple of them in there
Yep.
if we can. And they're from out of the area also. But
We're looking at
mighty men
another
and
one.
women of God.
We're looking at another one from Texas that you would love.
So, but anyway, all right. Thank you guys very much again for jumping on at a different time. I know the times are moving a little bit, but we're trying to hit everybody because everybody's got different schedules, different work schedules.
We got to move
Different
and
things like that.
shake. We're movers and
That's
shakers.
right. That's right. So I hope y'all are enjoying this. Hope you're really getting something out of it. I know we are. So y'all have an amazing day. Enjoy the rest of your day. And we will see you at noon tomorrow.
Love you guys.
Okay, bye-bye.